Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome
Welcome.
back. I am Olivia.
And I am
You like that?
Amy.
And this
This
is
is
Girls
Girls
Gone
Gone
Spooky.
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 Okay, I am opening my Instagram in order to pull up the message I sent you to discuss our very first topic for today, which is the fact that they found Jack the Ripper,
Yeah, that
who we were
is,
just talking about,
yeah,
which is like, did we do it?
I think so. We helped
We
them with the
manifested
breakthrough.
this. Just kidding.
Yep,
But yeah, you guys, Jack the Ripper's identity was revealed after a DNA match.
that astounds me. How is
Science.
that possible
I don't
anymore?
know. Yeah. So I'll read like the little blurb here. Historian Russell Edwards claims to have identified Jack the Ripper as Aaron Kaminsky, a Polish immigrant, through a DNA match from a shawl found at a crime scene. Kaminsky, who was a barber in London, was long suspected and later institutionalized for schizophrenia until his death in 1919. Edwards, backed by descendants of both a victim and Kosminski, is seeking a legal inquest to officially name him as the killer. His legal team has submitted a request to Britain's High Court, arguing that DNA evidence provides definitive proof of the infamous murderer's identity.
Hmm.
Pretty crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Also sad that he was schizophrenic, and that's like likely what
Yes.
drove him to be
Mhm.
violent. However, I feel like I'm really about to just like say something that I have no business saying, but
Okay.
I feel like schizophrenics like don't become serial killers usually. Like I feel like they're not like organized in that way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I know
Yeah.
schizophrenics have like can be, especially
Hmm.
unmedicated, um
Yeah, it's not
violent.
usually like a pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
It's not
Which to me feels like a
repeated.
completely different mental thing,
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
issue.
Yes. Interesting.
But then again, he could have been treated for schizophrenia and not had schizophrenia. It could have been something else
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
in the
They probably didn't know.
1800s. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Anywho,
True. Hmm.
justice for the
That is
ladies.
interesting. Yes,
Justice.
finally.
Kind
Uh,
of.
I wonder if when you die, do you get to discover answers
When you
to
die,
mysteries? Like,
I hope.
I would ask, who is Jack the Ripper? Who killed John Bonet?
Who
All these
Jean Benet better be
answers.
top of your list, and you better fucking let me know. Find me in the
Okay.
afterlife. Be like, my ghosty girl, we got an
Yeah.
answer. I hope
Okay.
we get
Yep.
answers. I want answers to a lot more than that, though.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
a full list of cryptids. Is this one real? Is this one real?
Yes.
Is this
Uh-huh.
one real?
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, I have a
Yeah.
lot of questions. I feel like I've been coming
Same.
back to that like conclusion that I had. Um, this was like very early on. I feel like maybe season two of like in some ways, wouldn't it be like incredible to know for sure that demons exist? Because then like angels probably do too, like God does
Mm.
too. Like there are divine beings, good and bad, in the world,
True. Yeah.
you know?
I'd like
Or it's
to
just all
know.
bad and that'd be really fucked. But I feel like where like it all came kind of from the same source. So
Hmm.
to me it seems like if
Yes.
one's confirmed, the other probably is too.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't
So
know.
many questions to
I have a
ask.
lot of questions, Amy. A
Maybe
lot.
one day in 100 years when we die at
In 100 years, yeah.
130,
Yeah, 130.
131. Mm-hmm.
No, I was joking that um every time I say like I get to die first, but
Mhm.
it only has to be by like 5 minutes. Like it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
long, but he has to like be sure I'm gone and then he can
Hmm.
keel.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you have to live to be 106. And he's like, I'm feeling like you keep raising the age that I have to last until. And I'm like, yeah,
Yep.
maybe.
Yeah. He's
Science, medical advances.
130. Yep.
130, no big deal. Hang in
Hmm.
there.
Yep.
Um, Any hooser, today's episode,
Yep.
we're back with
Is
some men in uniform. The
yes.
popo. The
Oh, I thought
pigs.
you
No,
were
I'm
gonna
just
say the
kidding.
Pope.
No, not the Pope. We've
Not the
been there,
Pope.
done that.
Yeah.
We haven't like done the Pope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Vatican. But
Yes.
no, the pigs.
Police. Hmm. The pigs. I think that that's fair.
I think pigs, like, not even. I'm so sorry to anyone listening who is a police officer or has a family member. I'm truly not saying this with any disrespect.
Yes.
I just
No.
find it to be objectively funny.
Yes. I would agree. Yeah.
Like, they like donuts. And, like, I know that's a stereotype, but, like, they kind of like donuts. They're, like, in cute little outfits. Like, I just think piggy.
Do pigs
Little
wear cute
piggies.
outfits?
I don't know, kind of. They have those, like, weird bald bodies with, like, a little bit of fur, but, like, the hair is, like, the
True.
same color as their, like, weird
Uh-huh.
bodies. Not that I think cops have that. Anyway, I'm gonna stop. Cops, but
Yeah.
also a little bit of firefighters as well, because
Yes.
why not?
I also have some EMTs, so
Beautiful.
let's
Also in
call them
uniform.
first responders.
First responders. Okay, so we're not gonna do pigs. Got
No.
it. Okay.
Let's put the kibosh on
Let's put the
pigs.
kibosh on pigs. Okay, you know what?
Also,
Fair.
when you were like, what did you just say? Oh yeah, they like donuts. And then that was like all.
That was it.
The
Also, I
list
don't think
goes
pigs
on.
eat donuts. Like, pigs are fat, but they don't
No.
eat donuts.
But they would if they
The
could.
list, they would if they could. Binks
Yeah,
would eat a donut. He's my little
absolutely.
pig.
Yeah, we're
Insane.
we're just switching
Anyway,
gears now.
respect the police.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes.
Depends on the police. Depends on the situation.
One
And
bad apple, am I right? Okay, anyway. First responders. Mine happen to be primarily police. And the thing that's funny is what originally made me write this theme down like over a year ago is like a completely different tangent of like firefighter stories that literally didn't make it into this episode. So, because I just
perfect.
went down such a rabbit hole. So,
Mhm.
I've got 7 stories.
Yeah,
Oops. They're
love
like
it.
short and sweet. They're like,
Mhm.
we're just gonna
Rapid
breeze
fire.
on through. But you're
Yep.
first.
Okay. Or do you want to go first? Because I only have 5. And then
Okay.
we alternate. Okay, let's do it.
Perfect. Okay. This one's really quick. This is from Patrick Kane. I was a 911 dispatcher for about 5 years out of school. One night, I got a call from a lady at a residence in town. 911, what's your emergency? Is this the police? She was freaking out. Heavy breathing, scared, shaking voice. I've taken many calls like this, and from the sound of her voice, this was not going to be a routine call. I sat up straight and my heart started to pump faster. Yes, ma'am, what is your emergency? There's someone in my house, she trailed off. Very breathy and genuine, but not loud and freaking out. Okay, are you located at insert house address? Yes. I dispatched the cars to start heading over to the address and I don't give a reason yet. Okay, do you know who this person is? Well, no, I don't think I know this sounds so crazy. I think there's a ghost in my house. She begins to sob and sounds so fucking scared. There are all these noises and I know there is a ghost right in the other room. I can hear it right now. At this time, the sergeant asked me the reason of the call and why I sent him and 2 other cars without any explanation. Normally, you'd send 1 car to something like that. It's suspicious activity, I told him. What activity? He demanded over the radio. Fair question. Sir, the caller is claiming there is someone in the house and, well, she believes it to be a ghost. Silence on the air for about a minute. 10-4 is all he said. By the time they got there, the ghost was gone, and the poor lady was a freaked out mess, and she kept apologizing for calling us, but it was real, she kept repeating. The officers later told me that her sincerity actually really freaked them out, and when they searched the house, guns drawn, even they were scared.
Whoa.
I thought that was a good, primer.
Yeah. It's just the feeling you get.
Oh, yeah. It was
That's
really creepy.
scary. Oof. Yikes. Good one.
Ugh. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, rapid fire.
Let's go.
So, this is from Dynamite86. He says, former EMT/firefighter here. One night, we got a call to do a wellness check on someone who dialed 911 but didn't respond to the operator. We pull up to the address and the house looks perfectly quaint, and a little old lady greets us at the door. We asked her if she knew who placed the call, but she told us that she lived alone since her husband died. We barely got back to the station before a call comes in again. Same address as before. So we drive back out, talk to the old lady again, then leave again. And just as we get back to the station, same call, same address, no response. We drive out there again, believing that the old lady must be getting confused. But this time, when we pulled into the driveway, she wasn't at the door to greet us. There was no reply at the door, but it was unlocked. We peeked inside and saw the old lady was on the floor, not breathing. We rushed in to help and got her to a hospital in stable condition. When she woke up in the ambulance, she still claimed that she never called us and that we arrived almost immediately after she had fallen. It was a 15-minute drive to her house from the station. Before she was admitted to the hospital, she asked me and another EMT if it would be possible to bring her stuff from home. I offered to pick up her stuff because I had a friend who lived in that area and we were planning to see each other anyway. I picked up my friend and drove to the lady's house. I ran inside to grab her bag while my buddy sat in the car. But just as I was leaving, I swear I felt a hand on my back and heard a voice say, "Thank you." When I get back in the car, my friend asked me, why couldn't the lady's husband bring her stuff to the hospital? I explained that her husband was dead, but when I said that, my friend said to me, "But I saw an old guy in the window. He smiled and waved at me." Spooky.
That's so sweet and also so spooky.
I know. Spooky.
He was like,
and
she's not ready to join me yet.
Yeah, it's not her time.
Cute.
Yeah, I like that one.
Cute ghost man.
Yes.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
This one is from KC135R. I worked as a police officer in a small town in rural Nebraska. Back in the 90s, I was patrolling through town in winter. We had several abandoned houses in town, but one seemed to have the attraction of copper thieves, so we were told to keep an eye on it. I drove by it around 7 p.m. Since it sat on a corner lot, I had a clear view of all four sides of the house. As I drove around the corner, nothing looks out of the ordinary. About 2 hours later, I drive by again, and the back door is wide open. I know that the back door was not open when I drove by it earlier. Looking at the snow on the ground around the house, there were no footprints, so I think, what the hell? I call dispatch, tell them I'm investigating an open door at that address, and ask for a county sheriff to start my way. I walk to the open door, pull out my flashlight, and shine it inside. The house has obviously been gutted for the most part. The plaster walls have been torn down, debris piles everywhere. Since there were no footprints in the snow around the door other than mine, and with all the dust on the floor not showing any footprints, I chalk it up to the wind, or maybe the door just kind of opened on its own. I was about to secure the door when I heard a loud thump come from upstairs and what sounded like kids laughing. So I enter the house and yell out, "Police department, come downstairs." More of what sounds like kids playing. I tell dispatch that it sounds like there are kids in the house and start making my way through the kitchen into the living room where the stairs are, all the while cautiously checking the main floor. 2 more times I hear something upstairs, but since I've had no response, I start thinking maybe it's an animal. Still, I hear what I'd swear was kids laughing. I head upstairs, and it's suddenly quiet. The upstairs is relatively small, with a hallway at the top of the stairs that has one bedroom on the right, one straight ahead at the end of the hall, and a bedroom on the left. As I get to the top of the stairs, I hear a thump in the bedroom to the left. I carefully peek around the door, and it's an empty room with a small pile of plaster and wood debris in the middle. No kidding. Sitting on top of the pile of debris was a page torn out of a children's book with a picture of a police officer on it.
Oh, what? Oh no.
The hair stood up on the back of my neck, and I got out of that room, quickly cleared the other rooms upstairs, and got the fuck out of there. I told dispatch nobody was in the house, locked the back door, and never went back out there again.
Yeah, run away. Run
I would
fast.
be so scared.
Oh my gosh.
Holy
That
shit.
is
I would be
wow.
so scared. Like, genuinely,
Hmm.
truly so scared.
Yes.
The
Would have a
kids
hard
know.
time coming back from that.
Very hard time. Yeah,
Yes.
agreed. So
Oh
that's
boy.
it.
Okay. Um, this is a weird one. I don't really know what to make of this.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is from CompSci 2000.
Okay.
I was an EMT for a while. We got a call about someone who was riding their bike at breakneck speed when they hit a car headfirst without a helmet.
Oh.
We went over immediately, despite the fact that it was broad daylight and we were in the middle of suburbia on a Saturday. Nobody had come to check on this poor guy. Seriously, the streets were empty. Usually a massive crowd gathers around accidents like this. So his skull was pretty much smashed in, and he was
Oh.
unresponsive. It was the worst head injury I'd ever seen. We assessed that he had a major skull fracture, a concussion, and he was bleeding profusely. He was also missing teeth and had minor road rash, but fortunately he wasn't missing much skin. To give you an idea of how bad it was, this was the kind of injury that most people don't survive. If you do survive, you'd be a vegetable. Normally, we would have moved him off the road, but when someone has a head/neck injury, that isn't safe. My partner, who was also training me as I was still kind of new, went to check his pulse while I began to unload our gear. He crouched down, felt for a pulse for a while, and then stood up and opened his mouth to say something. Suddenly, the guy jumped up. He didn't use his arms to pick himself up. He just jumped to his feet. It startled the two of us. He looked at us, smiled, and attempted to grab his bike. We tried to stop him, but we didn't exactly want to wrestle him to the ground, given his condition. He bolts into the woods without his bike. My partner was in even more disbelief than I was. He just stared at where the man had run off, mouth agape. Then he turned to me and muttered, "He had no pulse." I asked him if he was sure, and he swore up and down that the biker was clinically dead.
Oh my God.
We contacted the authorities for assistance, and they sent a search and rescue team into the forest. I don't know if he was found or not because we normally don't get much information about patients after they go wherever they go. My best guess is that he went to a loved one's house out of confusion. What I found odd about that is head injuries bleed like hell, so you'd think the guy would leave a long trail of blood for the cops to
Yeah.
follow. But
Not if your heart's not pumping, you wouldn't.
yeah. Is he a zombie?
I don't know. It
What
kind of
is
sounds
that?
like it.
Yeah, scary.
Or like reanimated by something
Mhm.
else. Oh my God.
Yeah, very suspicious.
Very
Very.
suspicious. All right, we're going to keep it pushing.
Okay.
Clock paradox. Here we go.
Oh.
My uncle was the sheriff of a small town in New Mexico. He was by far the most hardcore person in our family. Super straight-laced, never really bullshitted, was not a joker whatsoever. So when he told this story, which is also backed up by my aunt, we all believed it without question. A local reporter named Bob D would always show up at any major police activity from the police scanner. Big car wrecks, fires, anything worth maybe reporting in the local paper. Everyone on the force knew Bob D. He was around at least once or twice a week at various police activities. Bob was a bit of a joker himself. He would mess with people by flicking behind their ears, and people would react to the flicks thinking it was a bug, only to turn around and see it's Bob just joking around. Everybody liked Bob. But unfortunately, Bob had really bad lung cancer and died quite suddenly. His wife buried him, against his wishes, actually. He wanted to be cremated. For the next couple of weeks after his furniture,
Close
am
enough.
I okay? They eat donuts. I need help. Okay.
Yeah,
After
maybe
his
you need a donut.
funeral, I think I
Mm-hmm.
do need a donut. After his
Yep.
funeral, for the next couple weeks, people kept, oh my God.
You got this.
Okay.
It's a
For
lot
the
of
next couple
words.
of weeks, after his funeral, people kept
Mm-hmm.
talking about, quote unquote, seeing Bob at car wrecks, fires, all the same stuff that he used to report on. There were 20 to 30 reports like this. 20 to 30 from
Hmm.
civilians and members of the force. But of course, my uncle didn't buy it.
Wow.
Until the night that he and my aunt showed up at our house, guns drawn, pale as paper. We asked him what the hell happened, and he had to sit down, catch his breath, compose himself, and start to outline what had happened. Note, this is a guy that I have never seen rattled by anything.
Hmm.
He said that my aunt and he were sitting on the couch in their house watching TV. My uncle kept scratching at his ear over and over, and finally my aunt asked him what the problem was, and he turned around just in time to see their bedroom door open, with Bob D standing there in the doorway.
What? In their
Clear
house?
as day. Clear as
What's he
day.
doing there?
My uncle jumped up, cussed, got my aunt's attention, who turned to see him there too. And as
Well,
soon as they both made eye contact with him, Bob smiled, turned, and walked across the living room and out of their front door, closed the door behind himself, and was gone.
wow. What?
Yeah, that's like a fully formed
That's a ghost.
apparition. That's a
Yes.
fucking ghost.
Yeah.
And like
Wow.
an energetically powerful one, I feel too, to be
Right.
able to open and close doors and stuff.
Yeah.
My
Wow.
uncle got control of himself and ran outside, gun drawn, looking for Bob, but he was gone. At that point, they ran over to our place. We went over there and didn't see anything, but my aunt and uncle stayed at our place that night. At work the next day, all the guys on the force were giving my uncle lots of "we told you so." People around town said they saw Bob D show up at police scenes for at least another 2 or 3 months. My dad saw him in our dark room in our basement with a friend once. He was flicking their ears in the dark.
Oh.
Yeah. During the third month, people that did see him kept saying he was looking worse and worse. My uncle saw him 2 more times, each time confirming he was looking more worn down. My dad had concluded that he was decomposing and his ghost was maybe reflecting that process. Every time my ear itches, I get goosebumps.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
It's like sweet, but also like I would be terrified.
Yes.
You turn around
Yeah.
and see someone you know is dead in your doorway, and then they just are like, walk, beep, 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 walk on out your house. Like,
Yep. Yeah.
no,
Just messing around. That,
pass.
yeah. Something weird's happening with Bob
Something
D.
weird's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, even if he is harmless, it's like, you should not be here, I don't
Yeah.
think.
Certainly not.
But,
Certainly not.
well, spooky. Bob D. Okay. I have my third one is quite short. So
Okay,
it's
hit me.
from I Hate Arizona. It's the username.
Oh, that's so
Um,
funny.
they say, I'm a 911 dispatcher. So this is a different kind of person.
Okay.
I'll always remember Mr. Blue, we'll call him. The nicest old man living kind of out in the middle of the desert. He was tagged in our system as having dementia. We used to take calls from him nearly every night about how his wife's dolls would come to life and torment him. Or.
I just got full body chills. Hate that.
Yeah, gotta get rid of
Hate that.
those. Those dolls have got to go. Because he also said that they kidnapped his wife. She really
Oh.
had passed away, but he said that
Oh,
they were
that's
the
very
reason
sad.
for it. Yeah. So it seemed that every time he would call was right around my shift, and I just so happened to be the one to take his calls most of the time. It
Hmm.
was a little creepy being on the phone with him at times. He would randomly shush me, and you could actually hear footsteps, or he would explain that there was somebody living in his couch, and you
Oh
could
my
hear
God.
laughing.
Oh,
So they were hearing things that he was describing. Or I guess
that
not
is so
exactly, but
eerie.
yeah.
Like he's not
Nicest old
alone.
man. Yeah, no, something like it. Maybe it was a real
Oh,
person. You
yeah.
never know. But
Like a squatter or something, even.
yeah, right.
Ooh.
Yeah. Nicest old man, and you never want to deny him. So I'd stay on the line with him and talk to him about his life until the deputies arrived. Mr. Blue doesn't call anymore, and I have no idea what happened. So
Oh,
I don't know. That could
I hope
be.
the dolls didn't get him.
I
Jeez.
know. I don't know if that's paranormal, but it's just weird that he got stuck on those dolls being the reason for his torment.
Yeah.
So,
That just, I don't know why this just like triggered my memory. And I was like looking through my stories to see if I had included this one and I realized I didn't because it was like not very well written and I would have had to rewrite
mhm.
it. And I was like, there's just like so much other content. But
Yeah.
roughly the story was this like elderly woman who was living by herself
Mhm.
said that she saw a ghost outside of her like sliding glass door that oh, this one makes me want to throw up. That um so they arrive and they're like, so what happened? And she was like, well, I was just like glanced out the sliding glass door and it's nighttime and I see a man standing looking back at me. And so I just froze and I called 911, but I didn't move. I was on the phone while he's standing there looking at me. And she said eventually he just sort of like slinked away into the yard. So they're like searching everywhere. Then they notice that there is a pair of muddy footprints in the house. He was never outside.
Oh my god.
She was looking at her reflection. He was behind her.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes me sick. Oh
I
my
know.
god.
So they cleared the house. He was
Oh,
gone. But they didn't know why he came into the house at all because he didn't steal anything.
yeah. Oh my god.
I know.
I
I was like, oh
yeah, I
God,
felt
that's so
chills
scary.
like down to my toes when
Yeah,
you
I
said
know. So
that.
scary.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
Wow.
on to the next
Hate
one.
that. Okay.
This is from Elephant Pudding. And I'm going to read a couple comments after because there's like a possible explanation, but he's like, nah. So
Okay.
called to a residence out in the boonies. This was in Wyoming. So the boonies are really the boonies, he says, at about 11 p.m. about suspicious activity. When we get there, we're told by the family living there that there are very strange screams coming from a creek area about 1,000 feet out. Sure enough, waiting outside on the porch with them for about a minute, I hear it. It's very hard to describe what it sounded like. It was like a woman in very severe distress, but higher pitched, and each scream lasted for about 10 to 15 seconds. It never sounded like it was saying anything. It was just the sound of a cry of essentially sheer terror, and then it would repeat itself. We tell the family we're going to investigate, so we walk down to the creek since it was nice out. We heard about two more screams getting louder as we approached the creek. By now, we're both kind of freaked out because there are really two possibilities. Someone's getting murdered or maimed in the creek bed,
Mhm.
or it's a wild animal. As we approach the creek bed, we hear no screaming. We wait for about 5 minutes, search around, find nothing, yelling at the top of our lungs for somebody to come towards us if they're there and need help. Then we hear the exact same scream behind us, exactly from where we came from. We get about halfway back to the house, and the scream comes so loudly it seems to be right beside us. We frantically shine our flashlights everywhere and find nothing. No glints in the eyes of an animal, no rustling bushes, silence. We trace our steps back, and the scream comes from around the creek again. This time it lasted maybe 30 seconds and was much louder than before. Our retreat becomes a little more hastened. By this time, we were both scared shitless and verified with the family to call us again if they heard it. They never called again, and we got the hell out of there. I don't know what it was. As an avid outdoorsman, I know of no animal that makes a cry like that, especially one that can move stealthily enough to not be spotted by a flashlight or make any noise in the brush. Something else that weirded me out was that it was completely silent while the screams were happening. During the summer in Wyoming, there is always some kind of ambient animal sound: frogs croaking, crickets chirping, owls hooting, coyotes howling, etc. But there was nothing until we were leaving and the screams had stopped. Then a frog started croaking. It gives me the creeps still just thinking about it. So, of course, people are like, Florida Panthers, foxes can make really crazy sounds, mountain lions. But his response is like, I've heard all of those. Like, I've heard the sounds of, yes, there's that woman screaming animal sound, unless it was like sick or dying or something, in which case it wouldn't have been able to run away so fast.
Right.
So cryptid.
Yep. Banshee?
I'm thinking cryptid, baby. Yeah,
Yeah.
banshee for sure.
Spooky.
So
Hmm.
spooky.
Yeah. I believe, like, when you know, you know. When you've
Yeah.
heard
When
those.
you know, you know.
Yeah, when you know, you know. When you've heard those sounds before, I
Yeah.
feel like you
Especially
would
if you're
know
if you're
the
an
difference.
outdoorsman, like you're yeah, you're
Yes.
not like. And also, this family, they live by the creek. So
Right.
they would have heard that sound before and
Yeah,
probably
true.
not have been that freaked out by it unless it
Mm-hmm.
was some species of animal that wasn't from around there. But then again,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't really explain what it is. Anyway,
Yeah, true.
spooky.
Scary.
Spooky ooky.
Interesting.
Your turn.
Okay, my turn. So, okay, we'll do this one. This is from Sorry for Being Right. I love that username.
That should be your username. Big Virgo energy right there.
Yeah, maybe I'll
Sorry for
change
being
it on
right.
Instagram.
You
Okay,
should.
cop here, pig here. Um,
I was hoping.
that's
I was really hoping.
not, yeah, okay. I won't identify this person as a pig. They can do that themselves if they want
Eat as
to.
many
Cop
donuts as you
here.
want.
Yes, exactly.
Wear your cute little outfit.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cop here. Burglary alarm reported to dispatch from a private company. A motion sensor went off in a local business. Usually, the alarms don't send an alert requiring police response unless three sensors pick up movement.
Mm.
Usually, we don't respond to these kinds of calls unless a person calls us. And sometimes we don't even respond to 911 hangups.
Mm.
So we go.
That's concerning.
Yeah, I thought they had to
I thought so
respond to
too.
everything, but who knows? So we go, since now two more alarms for motion
Oh.
have gotten tripped. So another unit and I set up a canvas on the building. There's nothing strange from the outside. There doesn't appear to have been forced entry. The other units and I get permission to enter from the building owner. We go in through a side door. It's a thrift shop, which we know.
Okay. Haunted.
Yep. We announce ourselves, no response. We clear the entire 2 stories of this thrift shop. It's not too big. We don't find anything. The store owner meets us outside with an iPad to show us camera footage. The 3 alarms that got tripped show a faint gust of wind that moved clothes on the rack.
Weird.
We just assumed it was a draft because it happened on 3 consecutive clothing racks. So the owner reset the alarms and we left. 15 minutes later, the store owner calls us and wants to meet again to show us something. Clear as freaking day. As my partner and I were leaving the side door after clearing the building, is a shadowy figure waving at us, saying goodbye.
Ew.
Chills hit me. I didn't want to accept or deny it. We occasionally get tripped alarms, and anytime we don't respond to the place, more alarms get tripped until we show up. If we show up, we have like a 6 to 8 week streak without any activity. We think there's something just wanting police friends. We did research.
Literally.
We can't. Yeah, we
Just
can't
wants a
find
little
anything.
company.
Right, it's just lonely.
Oh my
But
God.
yeah, they did research on the building. They couldn't find anything in its past that would indicate that maybe it was haunted.
Right.
So who knows? As long as it's friendly, it can trip whatever alarms it wants. I just won't go in without a partner.
Yeah, hell no.
Yeah. So
Oh my God.
spooky. How weird to catch that on camera, though. Just waving.
Bye. Ew.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this one is from Black Magics, but it's spelled B1ACKMAGIX.
Okay.
Back when I was working as a cop on a military base, I loved working the night shift. I didn't deal with 99% of the bullshit the day shift dealt with, and the little stuff we did deal with was usually quite interesting. Well, most every building on a base is alarmed, and the alarms are tied right into the desk, so we know the instant they go off. We get an alarm activation, we close the base, and we go check the building, pull on all the doors, see if we can get in. If we can, we go into the building and secure it, check all the doors and corners to see if someone set the alarm off. Well, one night, I was on patrol with my alpha, which means partner, he says in parentheses, and we get... You're my alpha, Amy.
Alpha. Oh, thank
Big
you.
dog. And we get called to respond to an alarm activation at the elementary school. So we go, secure the building, and call in that the building is all secure. No problem. Keep patrolling. About 15-20 minutes go by. We get another alarm activation. We get back out there, check, and now there's a maintenance door open that leads into a kind of boiler room. Nothing in it. We close it, lock it, get out. Another 20 minutes, another alarm. We respond. All the doors are still locked and we can't get in. Maintenance door is locked. Call in the all clear. This time, my buddy and I sit on opposite sides of the school and watch to see if someone is coming and yanking the doors really hard to set the alarm off. We sit there and watch, and nothing happens. And right as we're about to leave, another alarm activation as we're sitting right there. We inform the desk that we'd like the building manager on site to help us secure the interior and to let us in. It's now around 3 a.m. Building custodian shows up and we start doing a walkthrough, checking all the classrooms and checking all the maintenance rooms, and that's when we see one of the maintenance doors open with the lights on in the room. Now, this room is literally the size of a closet. We walk down there and look in. No one's inside, and the door is locked when it closes. We look in there and we find a single footprint of a bare foot of water. A left foot, as I recall, of a small child.
Oh no.
Freaked the living hell out of us because no one had reported a missing child and the entire building was clear and still locked. No one left, no one entered. We checked every inch of that place, literally a 3-hour deep sweep, including ceiling tiles. Freaked the ever-loving shit out of us, and to this day, my partner refuses to go into that school. Speaking of which, schools are really fucking spooky when they're empty.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So creepy!
Why was the foot wet?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
Weird.
Very weird.
Very.
You got any more for me?
Yes, I do.
Hit me.
Have a short one. This is from Milkshake Maker. So, my father was a Boston cop. He told about a memorable call in the early 90s. He got a domestic call where, when he showed up, the man who called was waiting outside, covered in blankets, shivering to death, on a hot day in the middle of August.
Oh.
Apparently, he angered his woman, and she responded by making a voodoo doll and chained and padlocked it in the freezer.
No.
The man wanted the cops to break the fridge open, but they couldn't destroy property over this, so they sent him to the hospital. My
Oh,
father said that this guy's teeth were chattering and his lips were turning blue when he was covered in blankets and it was sunny and 80 degrees outside.
girl power.
So, yep, she got him. Showed him.
Oh my God.
Scary. Yeah, voodoo. Voodoo
Have
Mama
you seen
Juju.
those? Yeah, literally. Hey, Dave. Have you seen those memes that are like, places you can stay? 1, in your lane. 2, in a jar in my freezer. And
I
it's
haven't
literally
seen
like
that.
people will write someone's name and put it in a jar with other things and put it in the freezer, and it like has that effect. Not of like making them feel sick, but of like getting them out of your life.
Yeah. Wow.
So interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
Sort
Weird.
of like a hex, I guess.
Yes.
Eee.
Magic all around us.
Magique. Exactly.
Hmm.
Okay, I have 2 more fire
Okay.
department stories. So
Yeah.
this is from a deleted, okay,
Deleted user.
deleted
Uh-huh.
Yeezy, a
Mm-hmm.
Yeezy, a
Yep.
deleted user, for the love of God. I am a member of a local fire department, and we have 2 stations. One primary station that we regularly have people staffed at and keep 90% of our apparati.
Mm-hmm.
What's the plural of apparatus?
Apparatus.
Apparati? Apparatuses?
Apparatuses.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Oh well.
Either
Our
one.
second station was built by our town as a place for us to keep some spare apparatus and extra equipment that doesn't get used on a day-to-day basis, but one day could be used as a secondary primary station. This post will be focusing on Station 2. The layout of the station is a bay area that is 3 stalls wide with doors on both ends for each bay. Attached to this is a door that goes to the main entry, which has another door to go to the kitchen and a door to exit the building. All of these 3 doors are self-closing and latch firmly. The activity that we've been experiencing, namely myself and 2 of my buddies, is quite aggressive in nature, and we cannot find any explanation for it. The first time it happened, it was myself and one other person sitting in the furthest stall from the entry. We had an enclosed trailer parked in the center stall and nothing again in the one closest to the door. We'll call these stalls 1, 2, and 3. I'm sure many of you know an enclosed trailer has the main door on the rear, but then also features a smaller door on the side to walk through. These doors on the side latch open with a mechanism that is designed so that the wind can't shut the door on you. We were on the side opposite to this door and just sitting there talking, and all of a sudden we hear feet stomping inside the trailer. Loud, heavy, aggressive stomping, beginning at the front of the trailer and working towards the back. Next, there was a pause, and all of a sudden, the side door that was just latched open aggressively slams shut, the latch piece breaking off and flying onto the floor. It
Oh.
looked like it had been snapped clean off. None of the large bay doors were open, the HVAC system was off, the entry door to the bay was shut and latched, and it was only the 2 of us in the building. Not a clue in the world what caused this, and this was only the beginning, at least in our experiences. The next incident was myself and one other person inside. This time we were sitting listening to the radio, working on some equipment maintenance. Stall 1 had a truck in it, a command van, so picture a UPS truck with emergency lights. Stall 2 was where we were sitting, and stall 3 had a boat in it. Again, we were on the opposite side of the door in question. The side door on said command van was latched shut and locked. All 3 of us distinctly remember hearing the door unlock, presumably from the inside, since only our chief has the key to it, and the spare is inside the office in a locked drawer. This was followed by the door unlatching, and when I say rapidly, I mean the door could have flown off the rails. Opened and closed a number of times with great speed and aggression. Again, not a clue in the world what could have caused this. I see this is getting lengthy now, so maybe I'll come back and add a few more experiences in a little. However, the main theme is they're all quite aggressive and all using doors for some reason. Any and all help would be appreciated. We have some younger EMTs that refuse to go to that station now to get supplies due to the activities that we've now all experienced at the station.
Mhm.
So someone is like, if any door is locked in either the open or the shut position, the door is flung off so that it swings freely. It sounds like someone may have been locked in a trailer and perished, and maybe it can't distinguish locked open to locked closed, so it just like it frees the door, quote unquote, regardless. And the original poster says, I should add that the station, like, that's correct. I should also add that the station where it occurs is built on land that was not necessarily given to the town voluntarily. They sort of voluntold the owners that they needed the land for the station, and let's just say the owner at the time, who has now passed away, was not very pleased with the decision. Additionally, in winter, if you're at the station around 11 to midnight, no matter how many people you're with, you can see very clearly a man looking through the windows on the big bay garage doors. Yeah,
Whoa.
multiple people, including myself, have witnessed this, and even after a fresh snowfall, there is not a single foot outside the building. Footprint is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so he's like, I feel like this is probably just the owner of that property, and he's angry. And then he adds one more thing. Aside from these experiences, we also have had some at our primary station, although they've been much less intense. One that every single person, including myself, has experienced is that at night, when you're sleeping, you can hear the shore lines for air and electricity coming unplugged from the rigs. You walk out to the bay, and sure enough, at least 2 or 3 rigs are disconnected from the shore and air supply. Obviously, this creates a big safety issue as we need to have charged batteries to go on runs. Our board has reviewed the security camera footage of every door in and out of that bay, and not a single person could be seen entering or leaving. Also, for those of you familiar with shorelines on fire apparatus, our electrical connections are not auto ejects, so that has been ruled out as a possibility for the electrical lines.
Whoa. Weird.
Yeah. So there's something
That's
angry because it's also like that's messing with the safety of
of
not just the
others.
firefighters, but yeah, people who are on the other end of calls as well.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
don't know. It's
Weird.
freaky.
Also,
Um,
is Noah home now?
yes.
Okay. Because I
Yeah.
saw, like, when he first came in, I saw a tiny little head right above
Yeah.
your
Nice
shoulder.
and
I
scary.
was
Yeah.
like, I
I
don't know if I should say anything or not.
I turned like this at one point, and like the closet door is like open a crack, which always creeps
Hmm.
me out. I have
Yep.
pareidolia when there are like doors that are dark behind them, 100%. Like I see stuff that's not
Yeah.
there. It's just like my brain.
Hmm.
But my hair was kind of in a way where when I turned around, it looked like something was moving. And I was like, had
Mm.
this moment of terror. And you were reading a story. I was like, okay, calm
Oh,
down. That's not
no,
real.
it's okay.
That's an illusion.
Uh-huh.
Um, okay, I have one more.
Okay.
This is from Fire Investigator 113. So, my dad is a career firefighter, and I grew up in and around the firehouse. One of the stations in the town my dad,
Uh-huh.
my dad works in is, according to my dad and just about every firefighter that's been in the station for a night or two, extremely haunted. And I believe every word. The first story is from my dad. He's not one to be easily scared. They had returned from a late night run about 3 in the morning and went into the computer room to write up the run report. He told me he felt like somebody was behind him, so he turned around in the chair and saw a man in a black top hat standing outside the window. The man turned and walked toward the front door, thinking somebody was there for something, since it's a safe place and that happens where people just show up. My dad jumped up and ran out the front door to find the guy, but he was gone. As my dad went back into the station, the man walked around the corner and through the front door of the station. Didn't open the door, which would have been impossible since the door is locked and requires a numerical code to unlock. He walked through it and disappeared. My dad said he immediately went up to the bunk room and finished the report in the morning because he was so freaked out.
Yeah.
The next story comes from the medic my dad worked with. One night she was watching a horror movie with my dad. At one of the jump scares, they both heard the front door get kicked and hit the inside wall, then slam shut. The medic, thinking my dad was playing a trick on her, turned to yell at him for scaring her, only to see him white as a sheet. Both freaked out at this point, so they hopped up to see if one of the other guys was fucking with them. My dad went to check the door. The medic went upstairs to see if anyone was missing. Everyone who was upstairs was asking who the hell slammed that door. My dad came upstairs with no explanation as to how the hell that happened. So it's like it like knew that they were going to be scared
Uh-huh.
watching something
Yeah.
scary.
Yep.
Next story
Interesting.
comes from the battalion chief, who was at the time a lieutenant. This guy is scary. He's huge, he's bald, and he's 100% no nonsense. I loved that he's bald, like that's
Yeah.
included.
Uh-huh. Important
um,
detail.
Very important. Huge, bald, no nonsense. He absolutely
Mr. Clean.
refused, literally, he absolutely refused to believe any ghost stories from this station. So the guys dared him to stay downstairs until like 2 a.m. He did, and nothing out of the ordinary happened. 2 a.m. comes around and he gets up, turns the TV off, turns the lights off, gets to the second step, and hears a woman whisper in his ear, "He's finally going to bed."
Ew.
Yeah.
No.
Everybody was in
Weird.
bed, and the only female on the department at that time was not on shift. The
Mm.
guys said they thought he was going to collapse from fright when he got to the top of the steps. It took 20 minutes to calm him down so they could get the story out of him. He said he felt the breath from the woman speaking on his ear.
Oh
He
my
still
gosh.
barely speaks of it, and if he does, gets visibly shaken up.
Wow. Got him good.
Yeah. By far, the most interesting story from the station is this one. So each shift has their own refrigerator, and they get locked as each shift leaves because, well, firefighters steal food from each other. C shift was known to steal food constantly. They'd eat entirely from the other two shifts' fridges, forcing A shift and B shift to constantly go grocery shopping. Well, apparently the entity, ghost, whatever you want to call it, got tired of C shift stealing everyone's food. And one morning, when A shift came in to relieve C shift, they found C shift refrigerator and freezer wide open with all of the food in the trash can. No one is quite sure how it happened, but both shifts swear they had nothing to do with it.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Other weird
That's
stuff would happen
funny.
as well. Pass devices, I don't know what that is, but some kind of equipment. Pass devices would go off
Yeah.
in the middle of the night for no reason. Boots would be pulled out of bunker pants, which is infuriating to firefighters. They could hear the workout equipment being used around the clock, occasionally see a man standing in the bay staring at the trucks, only for him to just disappear. Weird stuff like that. It's a really cool firehouse, but it certainly has that feeling like you're not alone.
Wow. Interesting. That place has a lot
Ooh.
going on.
Right?
Wow.
Very intense.
Yeah.
Very intense.
I like these stories
I do too.
because,
We love a man in uniform.
yes, that and somehow it's like they should be no nonsense kind of
Yeah,
people.
totally. Well, they run into
And,
danger all the time. So it's like,
right,
okay, they can't be like that easily scared.
right. Yeah. Mm,
Except by ghostes.
right. When you can't explain something, that's
Yeah,
scary.
ghostes and banshees.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Listen, well, until next week, we
Yeah.
are recording a very special episode from the
Oh,
Stanley
yeah.
Hotel.
That's so
Yeah,
exciting.
so we're so excited to share that with you guys next week. If you have scary stories you want to tell us, you can send them to us on our website, girlsgonespooky.com, or to our email, girlsgonespooky@gmail.com. Please rate and review the podcast, follow us on social, drop us a note, you know? If you love the pod, drop us a
Uh-huh.
little note,
Yeah.
bruh.
Where do you
You
drop a
little
note these
piggies.
days?
I don't know, DMs, a little
Yeah.
comment,
Yeah.
a
Perfect.
little something
Okay.
on the contact form on our website, a little email. You got a lot of ways to
Yes.
get in touch, you guys.
Yeah. That is
Um,
true.
so yeah, and until then, stay spooky.
Stay spooky. Bye.
Bye.